Hi, this is Tamika with Peony+Paper, and we are back with Card Frenzy. So this is day 3 of Card Frenzy here at Peony+Paper, and this week I have been coming to you with some card making videos. And I am going to be working with some scrapbook paper today that I got from Cricut. So I got a great deal on some scrapbook paper. Let me just kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be working with. So that's going to be what we're working with for one card. And this is the paper that we'll be working with for another card. I've already cut everything. So I'll mainly be doing like some stamping and kind of putting things together in this video. Yes, you can see I cut myself. So even though I know that the blade on this all-in-one works tool from We Are Memory Keepers, I know that this blade is super sharp, but I still cut myself anyways. But yeah, it's a great cutter. I love it. I just don't love it when I accidentally cut myself. So that's why you see the band-aid there. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to make 2 cards just like we've been doing in these videos. And then you can let me know at the end which card you like the best. We are going to make a thank you card, and we're also going to make a birthday card. So let's start with the thank you card. So we have our card base already together. This was a piece of cardstock, 8.5 by 11, which was cut at 5.5, and then I scored it at 4.25. So, whoops, I'm losing a marker there. So we're gonna go ahead and burnish this. To get that nice and crisp there. All right. Okay, so I am going to start by putting this down on our card base. So we have this pretty yellow paper. This paper from Cricut, it is double-sided paper. So that's what's on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna go with glue because, like I said in the previous videos, I like the fact that the glue allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room when I'm placing items and when I'm making the cards. You don't want to put a lot of glue because you don't want it to seep. So it's best to hold the tip actually on the paper. And I will try not to have to put my head in the way. Okay, and then just burnish that. All right, so that's all down. And so we have these 3 pieces here. So on the back side of this is this a kind of vintage, not quite black and white, but kind of sepia. And then there's a black and white piece on the side of that. So we're going to place all of these down in this fashion. It's kind of like a patchwork feel, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and glue each of these pieces down. There's really no direction with this one, but since that lemon's like that, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in this direction. So I'm gonna glue all of these pieces. And this one is a very, very easy card. Very easy to make. Okay. Put it this way. And then you can kind of gauge how you want your margin to be. And you're going to put the rest of the pieces gauging the same margin, right? So actually, I'm going to see if I have enough wiggle room to move this up a little bit. Okay, that's a little better. All right, so we're going to put this piece down. I want it to, and I will link the tutorials that I used for these 2 cards. I'll try to remember to link them in the description box. So you can go make these as well. This last piece here. And I want to try to get the same margin that's here as well on this side. All right, see how simple and easy that is. All right, put the glue away for a second here. Now I'm going to stamp a sentiment on here. This is actually a piece of an old paper pumpkin kit. It's got this very metallic side, but I'm going to stamp on this side. I am going to grab a sheet so that I don't make a mess, because we've already established that I am a messy stamper. So these stamps I got from scrapbook.com. I'm going to be using these for our cards today. So I'm going to use the thanks on this one. Get my stamping block. I'm just going to pick that up like that. Okay. And we're going to try our best. Actually, this is moving a lot because of that metallic side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of washi on it to keep it in place so that it won't move while I'm stamping. Okay. Alrighty. I am using this Calypso Coral stamping spot. This was in a different paper pumpkin kit. That is one thing I do like about those paper pumpkin kits, is getting these different stamps. I almost went and bought like all this ink, but having these lets me have the opportunity to try them out. Oh yeah, that works really nice. To try them out and see how that stamps, and see if I actually want to go ahead and invest in getting them all. I would have to get some at a time because they do have different collections, like some bright, some pastels, some. So I would have to gradually purchase them because it can get pricey to try and get them all at one time. All right, so I'm looking at this and I'm realizing that this is going to take time to dry. It is because of the texture of this little piece here. So I'm going to definitely set this way aside because I know me, and that way that can have some time to dry. All right, so while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and I have this twine. I'm trying to remember, did it come out of the, I think it came out of the same kit as that ink that I just used. And I'm just going to double it up and try and make a little bow. Well, you see how it's frayed right there? I don't want that part. So let me cut it here. And I'm going to try and double it up. Try to make it enough to make a nice size bow. Let's see. I'm starting to think I didn't cut it long enough, or either I'm making my loop too big. So one or the other. I'm trying to make my loop too big. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to pull just a little bit on these to get it exactly how I want it. All right, so that looks good. I'm going to just trim that a little bit. Okay. And before I put this down, I do want to put this sentiment down first. And let's see if that's going to be dry enough. That is still a little wet. So what I'm going to do is still let that dry some more. And I'm not going to be putting anything on the inside. I'm just going to put that thank you on the outside. So I'm going to put this and this off to the side, and we will come back to that card once that sentiment is dry. So now let's look at starting our second card. Here's all of our pieces for our second card. I made this card, the same card, for a coworker. So I have several pieces here that I'm going to be layering together. And then here's the card base. Again, it's a 5.5 by 4 1/4, and it's been scored here. I want to say this was at 2 1/8. And so I'm going to fold this in and burnish it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold in this other side to meet it in the middle. And then I'm going to burnish that as well. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side with these pieces. So for the stamping, I am using some stamps from Planners Anonymous. So as you can see here, I've already stamped, it's like a balloon and 2 balloons. One is pretty standard balloon, and then one is like those foiled balloons. So I did those, and I've colored them in, and I'm going to do another set of them. And I'm just using black Memento ink for those, and then I actually colored them in with some alcohol-based markers. Let me stamp it off here. All right, that's what I want. Alrighty, so we'll put that aside. I'll put that aside. So what I'm going to do is color these in. Now, I was trying to get the color to be as close to this as possible. It's a little bit darker. So what I did was kind of mixed 2 of the markers. So these are Hoo markers. I got them on Amazon. So I'm coloring with this color first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to come back in with another color on top to lighten it up a little bit. These are very saturated markers, so I just do very light strokes. Like, I like to use the brush tip because I can do it more lightly. With the brush tip side, it has a broad tip side as well. And I got these on Amazon. You can get different assortments with different amounts of markers in them. I think the ones I have, I'm trying to remember how many total markers I have in my pack. It might be like around 40 something. All right, so while this part is drying, I'm going to cut this other part. I'm just gonna fussy cut around it is what I'm gonna do. So I cut this part off, and then I'm gonna keep this there and let this part dry, and then I'll come back and color over the top of it. So I'm not gonna cut completely around it. I'm gonna cut as close as I can to keep like a little border. And they're probably both will end up being cut differently because there's just like no way that I'm possibly gonna cut these the same way. That's just not gonna happen. I know me, I'm not really great with scissors as it is, so I'm not expecting great things with the fussy cutting here. I'm just trying my best. And then I don't have patience. We already know that. And I know, you know, for some cards it takes a lot of patience. But I'm just one of those people that wants to get things done. I'm very efficient. Once I've stopped procrastinating, isn't that something? So like even my white border is not like consistent all around, but I'm not too mad at myself about that. So there's one. And then, so now I'm going to come back in with this color, which is like a grayish color. And I'm going to go back over this. And that's going to help lighten it up some. I mean, it doesn't lighten it up a whole bunch, but enough for my liking. Because I thought it was a little bit too dark to match the papers. And then I'm going to go back over it again. And you'll see after it dries, it kind of gets a little lighter. All right. So due to the magic of filming, this will have already dried and been fussy cut. All right. So we've gotten all of that colored and cut. And we have this nearly dry. It's still a little bit wet, but nearly dry. So we're going to go ahead and put these to the side and we're going to finish out our first card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sentiment on here and I'm going to put this ribbon on it as well. Do I want to put the ribbon down like that? Okay. So I'm going to pop this on some dimensionals because I am afraid that with this kind of glossy metallic side, let me get some scratch paper again, that it's not going to stick with glue. So I'm going to do some dimensionals instead. All right. To take those pieces off. Okay. And let's go ahead and situate this right along here where that seam is. This ended up being like the perfect width. I didn't realize it would be so perfect there. Come on. I need to make sure that it's straight. Okay, and then I'm going to put this right underneath there. So I'm going to take a glue dot from here. And I'm going to put the glue dot on the back of here. Okay. And I feel like I want to put another one just to be safe. So let's put that down. And then we can just peel that away. And we're going to stick that right there. All right, so there is our first card. It's a thanks card. We've used some scrapbook paper. Like I said, this is all from Cricut. And then you can put whatever you want to put there on the inside. I think this is so cute. So let's finish up now the second card. So let's bring those pieces back in. So here was the card base again, and here's all of our additional pieces. We're going to work with these pieces first. We're going to take and glue these and layer them here. Let me move some stuff out of my way here. All right, so let's get our glue again. And I love this paper. I just think it's so pretty. And when I tell y'all I got like a good price on this paper, I think there might be about 24 sheets. I'm not sure how many sheets. But they had a sale at one point and I got this paper for like $5, $6 a pack. Like really, really cheap. Okay. There's one panel. Here's where I'm going to do the next one. I feel bad because my mom keeps calling me while I'm filming, and she's probably thinking something's wrong because I have not answered the phone. And my mother is known for worrying, so I feel bad because she's probably worrying right now. Okay, so those two are done. Then we have some smaller parts here. And I just love this card. I didn't film when I made the other one for my coworker, but I just love this card so much that I had to make another one. Okay, so that one's done. One more. And we can really start assembling things. Okay, so all of those are done. All right, so now what we're going to do is take the bigger panels and we're going to put them on these parts here. The good thing is this is not a directional paper, so I don't have to worry about how I put it on here or how it was cut or anything like that. There's a lot of what am I trying to say? Placing parts together, but it's so awesome in the end, so it's so well worth it. When I first saw this card, I was like, I have to make a card like that. And my coworker, she was just amazed at how the card was done. She was very pleased with it, which was awesome. Okay. All right, so here we go. There you have it. So what I'm going to do is I need to cut some more paper now that I think about it. I'm going to need you know what? I was supposed to put white cardstock on here for the sentiment. But let me cut it down. I'm going to cut it down a little smaller than this. And then I'll be right back. All right, so we have these two panels to add on to here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I just made a boo-boo, but we won't do that with the other one. I was supposed to stamp this first. Whoopsie daisy, but it's all good. So I'm gonna put this down and position it, and yeah. So I am again using the stamp set. The happy birthday here is in 2 separate stamps. And I'm stamping happy on one panel and birthday on the other, because I'm putting those die cuts on as well. And we're just going to use the black ink for this. And let me bring in some paper so that we don't make a mess. All right. Let me stamp it all first, okay. All right, that did pretty good. All right, and we're gonna do the birthday. Okay. Okay, ready. Okay, that's looking better. So I'm going to stamp this other panel before I actually glue it down. And I'm going to do the birthday off to the left-hand side. Sorry, to the right-hand side for this one. Even though I did the happy on the left the last time. All right. Okie dokie. So that's done. And now I can glue this onto that panel. So let's go ahead and close up our ink. Get that out of the way, get the scrap out of the way, and then we're going to glue this on the back. I'm going to be needing some more of this glue. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this down and make sure that's the way we want it. Let's go back over here, get our dimensionals. All right. And we're going to situate this so that it covers that little mess. Do it like that. Okay, and then we have this one. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of this one as well. And when you use alcohol-based markers, you have to be very cognizant of that when you're doing your card making, everything, because what you don't want is all of this bleed through to show. So you don't want that to show. You need to be very mindful of that. Okay, so now we're going to put this one like that. And we're ready to add this. So let's talk about how this is going to go. You're going to have one flap that comes over here and another flap that comes over here, and the card is going to open like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these pieces glued down. Okay, yeah, I took a minute to take that band-aid off. It was really in the way. I should have taken it off earlier, but all right, so we're gonna get this glued down. So because we only want this to be on a certain part, we don't want to put glue on the entire back side of this, okay? And then we aren't going to want to put it on the entire back side here either. You want to gauge how much space you want from the top and the bottom, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with this one, and then I'm going to put adhesive or glue, whichever you decide to use, only along this side. Okay. I'm just going to press down on that. And then I'm going to do on the opposite side over here. So since I want it on this side, I know I need to put the glue down over on here. Turn this around because that's just going to make it a little easier for me. And again, I'm trying to gauge the same distance from the bottom as I have here. And then there's your card. That's how it opens up. So the only thing that I'm really not feeling right now is how this is here. So I didn't think about that color being on the back, but I can easily go ahead and put either some white cardstock there, which I think is going to be the best option, and that won't even be an issue. So I have plenty of white cardstock. I could just measure it and put that on there and you won't even know. So there you have this card, and I love how this opens. I love it. So keep that in mind when you have the double-sided papers, because I forgot about that. If you don't want this side to show, you do need to cover that side as well. So like I said, I can go back and put, I think it's going to be white so that it can just blend in with the inside of the card. But there is our second card. Let's go back and take a look at our first card that we made. So we're having a bunch of fun over here at Card Frenzy. So tell me what you think about these two. I love the whole little patchwork idea. I think it helps to showcase all of the different papers that you might have in a paper pack. I love the whole monochrome over here. The one I made for my coworker wasn't monochrome, so you can do pretty much anything you want to do with this, okay? You can use any kind of coordinating papers that you have. Again, you need to be mindful of if your paper is directional for both cards, okay? You will need to be mindful of that, even though these lines were vertical, so that's why I made sure this piece was used for the vertical piece. Neither one of these were really directional, so it didn't really matter. But those are things you want to keep in mind. And then also with this card, you want to keep in mind if it's double-sided paper, you want to be mindful of what's on the other side of that. So I can cover that with white cardstock, and that will take care of that completely. All right, so that's it for this episode of Card Frenzy. Comment below, let me know which of these cards you like the best. And don't forget to tune in for the next episode. You guys know what else to do. Be sure to slay, subscribe, like, and accept the alerts so you don't miss any videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.